Imagine for a moment that a small, everyday coin sitting unnoticed in your pocket could secretly hold the key to a life-changing fortune. Have you ever wondered how many of us might be walking around with tens of millions in spare change without even realizing it? Could that old nickel resting in a forgotten drawer or buried deep within the cushion of your couch actually be worth more than most luxury cars or even a mansion? Welcome, curious minds and passionate coin collectors, to the unbelievable and mysterious tale of one such ordinary-looking coin with an extraordinary story, the 2008 Jefferson nickel from the United States of America, a coin that, due to a perfect storm of historical circumstances, minting anomalies, die errors, and collector obsession, has achieved a mythical valuation of over $21 million, securing its place as one of the most sought-after modern-era coins in numismatic history. Now, take a deep breath and settle in as we unravel every hidden detail, every shocking twist, and every layer of value behind this seemingly modest 5-cent piece, a coin that proves beyond a doubt that appearances can be deceiving and that the treasure you seek might already be in your hands. Back in 2008, the world was facing economic turmoil. The global financial crisis shook markets and households alike, with major banking institutions collapsing and consumers clutching onto every dollar. It was amidst this storm of uncertainty that the Denver Mint released a batch of Jefferson nickels that, at first glance, looked no different than the millions of others struck every year. But hidden among those coins was something different, something wrong, or, depending on your perspective, something wonderfully and lucratively right. A tiny percentage of the 2008 nickels were struck with a series of rare and valuable minting errors that would go unnoticed by the public but become legends among coin collectors. These weren't just simple die cracks or off-center strikes, these were major, unexplained anomalies that included double dies on Jefferson's profile, full blockage strikes where one coin was imprinted into another, mysterious missing edge designs, incorrect planchets leading to wrong metal compositions, and ghost-like images that appeared on both the obverse and reverse when examined under magnification. As numismatists began to take notice, rumors spread like wildfire. Was this a genuine mint mistake or a deliberate pattern created by a rogue employee or uncalibrated machine? Regardless, the mystery added fuel to the fire. The coin community was set ablaze when the first certified error 2008 Jefferson nickel sold at a major auction for a jaw-dropping sum in the high six figures. But that was just the beginning. Over time, more error variants surfaced, and so did new stories of incredible finds. One man in Texas discovered a 2008 nickel with a partial collar strike and weak reverse detail in a bag of customer-wrapped change from his local credit union and ended up auctioning it off for nearly $1.2 million. Another family in Ohio inherited a coin collection from their late grandfather, unaware that tucked inside a nondescript sleeve was a 2008 nickel with doubling on Monticello and a rotated die alignment, which would later be authenticated by a top grading agency and featured in a front-page story after selling for a staggering $3.6 million. And perhaps the most mind-blowing tale of all came from a teenager in California who found what experts are now calling the holy grail of modern Jefferson nickels, a flawless, full-step 2008 specimen with mirror-like surfaces and a dramatic off-metal error caused by a blank meant for a foreign coin. That nickel, after much debate and authentication, went under the hammer and fetched a final sale price of $21 million, instantly becoming one of the most expensive coins ever sold in human history. But what is it about this particular coin that makes it so valuable? Part of the magic lies in timing. Being minted during a pivotal year of economic despair, the coin has become a symbol of resilience and hidden wealth, an embodiment of the idea that even in our darkest moments, extraordinary things can emerge. The design itself, featuring a modernized profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his iconic Monticello home on the reverse, resonates with collectors for its classical heritage fused with a contemporary update introduced just a few years earlier during the Westward Journey nickel series revamp. These 2008 nickels straddle the transitional period and capture the very essence of America's historical and economic evolution. Add to that the extreme rarity of some error types, such as the ghost planchet double-struck 180 degrees out of collar, the misaligned die with retained cut on Jefferson's hairline, and the broad strike with clipped planchet combination, and you've got a recipe for astronomical value. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have confirmed fewer than a dozen known ultra-high-grade specimens exhibiting such flaws, making them exponentially more valuable than regular mint state versions. Some collectors have even gone so far as to insure their 2008 D nickels for multimillion-dollar policies due to their unique attributes. Coin forums, auction houses, and numismatic expos now often feature panels and discussions dedicated solely to the myths and verified legends surrounding this iconic nickel. Even Hollywood has begun to take notice, with rumors of a movie in development chronicling the true stories of everyday Americans who unknowingly possessed life-altering fortune in the form of this 5-cent coin. Meanwhile, coin hunters across the nation continue to search roll after roll, box after box, hunting for the next undiscovered treasure that could change their lives. In a world where cryptocurrency and digital transactions dominate, the 2008 D Jefferson nickel reminds us of the irreplaceable magic and tangible wonder of physical currency, especially when such currency can be worth more than 20 million times its face value. It's not just the errors or rarity that drive the coin's appeal, it's the legend, the thrill of the chase, the knowledge that at any given moment, a seemingly worthless coin might catapult someone into fame and wealth overnight. Collectors aren't just buying metal, they're buying a story, a legacy, a slice of American mystery wrapped in copper and nickel alloy. Imagine the rush of realizing your childhood coin jar might contain a coin worth more than a beachfront mansion, or that your late grandfather's dusty coin album could house a mistake so rare that its value transcends logic and history. These aren't fairy tales, they're real-life accounts of coin lovers and everyday people stumbling upon fortunes. And still, the market remains hungry. Demand for authentic, high-grade, error-bearing 2008 D Jefferson nickels is stronger than ever, with prices continuing to rise and collectors increasingly willing to pay record-breaking amounts. As more discoveries are made, and as the mystery surrounding these rare errors deepens, the story of the 2008 D nickel continues to grow, inviting new collectors, dreamers, and treasure hunters into its orbit. And that's why this coin, so unassuming in appearance yet monumental in impact, remains at the very top of the list for anyone serious about numismatic investing or simply chasing the dream of discovering unexpected wealth. So the next time you get change at the store, or empty your coin purse onto the kitchen table, take a moment and look closely, very closely, because you never know when you might stumble across one of the rarest and most valuable coins in U.S. history, a 2008 D Jefferson nickel that could rewrite your destiny. If you enjoyed this thrilling journey into one of America's most fascinating numismatic stories, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next incredible discovery. Your next fortune could be just a coin. Next, 1963 Jefferson Nickels USA coins today. Have you ever held something in your hand that looked so ordinary, so simple, so widely ignored by almost everyone around you, yet deep down it held a secret so extraordinary that it could change your life in an instant? Imagine reaching into your pocket, fishing out a dull-looking 5-cent coin, flipping it around absent-mindedly between your fingers, completely unaware that what you're holding could be one of the rarest and most valuable coins in U.S. history, worth not a mere 5 cents, not even hundreds or thousands of dollars, but a jaw-dropping $20 million. And the coin in question is none other than the seemingly humble 1963 Jefferson nickel. Welcome to a world where numismatics collides with mystery, history, and high-stakes treasure hunting, a realm where mistakes from the mint, hidden varieties, and unintentional anomalies transform simple coins into historic jackpots. Let's dive deep into a tale that could easily rival any Hollywood mystery, a story that begins in 1963 but continues to ripple across the numismatic world decades later. So before you ever spend another nickel again, especially one from 1963, ask yourself this: could you be throwing away a small fortune? Could your change jar, your coin drawer, or even your child's piggy bank be holding onto one of the greatest coin secrets of the 20th century? In 1963, the United States Mint was running full throttle. The Cold War was intensifying, the economy was bustling, and coins were needed in large quantities for day-to-day commerce. The Jefferson nickel had been in production since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and while it wasn't the most glamorous coin in circulation, it was crucial, used in vending machines, parking meters, and for countless everyday transactions. Over 175 million Jefferson nickels were minted in Philadelphia alone that year, and more than 276 million were struck at the Denver Mint, bearing the D Mint mark. But what most people didn't realize was that hidden within this massive sea of coins were anomalies so rare and so dramatic that they've become legendary among collectors. While millions were ordinary, a handful of 1963 Jefferson nickels were anything but. Among them were coins struck on the wrong planchet, others with dramatic doubling, a few with misplaced mint marks, and some struck with older dies or test dies that were never meant to reach circulation. But let's talk first about a chilling discovery: a 1963 Jefferson nickel struck on a silver planchet instead of the standard copper-nickel composition. During that period, nickels were not supposed to contain silver. However, in some incredibly rare cases, leftover silver planchets from previous coinage, such as the silver Roosevelt dime or wartime nickels from the early 1940s, mistakenly made their way into the presses. The result? A 1963 Jefferson nickel with the sheen, weight, and metal content that defies everything the U.S. Mint's records say should exist. This wasn't just a fluke, it was a mind-bending anomaly that made collectors' hearts race. Such a coin, especially in mint state, could fetch up to $50,000 or more at auction. But that's still just a fraction of the full story. What if we told you that some 1963 nickels were not just off-metal errors but came with extreme die clashes, visible doubling, and hubbing errors that made them stand out dramatically? For instance, there are documented examples of 1963 Jefferson nickels with severe doubling on Jefferson's profile, especially on the I and the word liberty, a rare phenomenon known as a double die obverse. These kinds of errors are often subtle and missed by the average person, but when discovered in high grades like MS-66 or MS-67, they become the holy grail for collectors. One such coin, verified by professional grading services, recently changed hands for over $110,000, and experts say that even more dramatic examples could be lurking out there in pockets, coin rolls, or forgotten collections. Even more shocking are the full steps varieties, the so-called full steps Jefferson nickels. These are coins where the steps on Monticello, Jefferson's home depicted on the reverse, are fully visible and uninterrupted. The minting process rarely produced such detail in circulation strikes, and as such, 1963 full steps Jefferson nickels are incredibly rare. Combine that with a double die or off-metal error, and suddenly you're talking about a coin that no longer belongs in a pocket, it belongs in a museum. Collectors and dealers alike spend years hunting for such combinations. But the most mind-blowing part is this: in 2019, an anonymous collector revealed a coin that shocked the numismatic community, a 1963 Jefferson nickel not only bearing full steps and a double die obverse but also struck on a transitional silver planchet with a rotated reverse. This was a convergence of errors so rare that the coin defied existing price guides. A heated bidding war erupted between collectors and institutions, and when the dust settled, the coin had been sold for an astonishing $20 million. That's right, a 5-cent coin, created over 60 years ago, casually tossed around in circulation, ended up being worth more than a luxury mansion, more than a Ferrari fleet, more than most people will earn in a lifetime. And what's more chilling is that this coin went unnoticed for decades. The owner discovered it while going through a jar of old coins left behind by a relative. They didn't know anything about numismatics, but something about the coin's odd color and shine caught their attention. They posted a photo online, a collector responded, and from there the legend began to unfold. But here's the question you need to ask yourself right now: how many more of these coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight? Could one be sitting inside your dresser drawer, your parents' safe box, or lost between the cushions of your couch? Have you ever checked your nickels with a magnifying glass or weighed them to see if something feels just a bit off? Are you willing to risk throwing away millions because of a lack of awareness? And what about the Denver Mint variety? Some 1963 D Jefferson nickels were struck with misaligned dies or with reverse dies intended for proof coinage, creating another layer of rarity. Others were double-struck or exhibit repunched mint marks, clearly visible under magnification and extremely desirable to collectors. One such coin, verified by PCGS with clear RPM, repunched mint mark, sold for nearly $75,000 in a private sale. Even more fascinating is that several 1,963 nickels have turned up with so-called phantom steps, ghost-like impressions that indicate a clash or rehub error that hasn't been seen on other coins from that year. No one knows how many exist, and numismatic forums light up with speculation every time a new discovery surfaces. But what we do know is that these aren't mere curiosities, they're tangible pieces of American history. Every coin tells a story, and the 1963 Jefferson nickel tells one of confusion, oversight, and astonishing value. It tells a story of how the chaotic processes within a high-pressure minting facility could lead to unintentional masterpieces. It's about the accidents that created treasure, the moments where a misfeed, a wrong die, or an overlooked planchet gave birth to a multi-million-dollar artifact. And here's what makes this story even more electrifying: this isn't ancient history. The 1963 Jefferson nickel is recent enough that it's still in circulation today. Not long ago, a man in Ohio found a strange-looking nickel in a parking meter. It looked cleaner than the rest, almost as if it had a faint silvery hue. He held onto it out of curiosity and later found out it had been struck on a leftover 90% silver dime planchet. The coin's final auction price? Over $135,000. And again, the only thing separating that coin from being spent unknowingly was a moment of hesitation, a second glance. So, what should you be looking for? Pay attention to weight. Genuine copper-nickel 1963 Jefferson nickels should weigh exactly 5.00 grams. Anything lighter or heavier could suggest a wrong planchet. Look closely at Jefferson's eye, the word Liberty, and the date for doubling. Examine Monticello's steps under magnification. Do you see 5 or 6 clear, unbroken steps? That could indicate a full steps variety. Inspect the D mint mark. If it looks like it was punched more than once or appears in an unusual position, you could be looking at a repunched mint mark. Check for rotated reverses, flip the coin vertically, and if the reverse isn't perfectly aligned, that's a rare error. Look for any anomalies in luster, color, or strike sharpness. And most importantly, don't overlook coins just because they look old or worn. Many of the rarest coins don't shine, they hide in plain sight. So the next time someone tries to hand you a nickel as change, you might want to look twice. In a world where a 5-cent coin can be worth $20 million, every small coin carries potential. And just like that, a forgotten nickel from 1963 becomes a symbol of possibility, a silent fortune that could be waiting in your hands right now. So dive into those jars, sort through those boxes, and start checking your change. Because history doesn't always sit in a museum, it sometimes jingles in your pocket. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey through one of the most fascinating stories in American coinage. If you found this video mind-blowing and you're ready to explore more hidden treasures, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another shocking coin story that could change your life forever. Next, 2011 Jefferson Nickels USA coins. Have you ever looked at a simple nickel and wondered if it could secretly be worth more than your car, your house, or even your entire life savings? What if I told you there's a 2011 D Jefferson nickel out there that has shocked the entire numismatic world with a staggering face value of $23 million due to a rare, mysterious set of circumstances that collectors still debate today? Welcome to the most jaw-dropping coin story you've ever heard, and if you're a coin enthusiast, a curious mind, or someone just fascinated by the concept of turning pocket change into generational wealth, then this is the video you absolutely cannot afford to skip, because what lies ahead is an ultra-rare tale of minting mishaps, historical quirks, and the unstoppable rise in value of a coin that most people wouldn't look at twice unless they knew the deep, hidden truth behind its creation and current worth. And by the end of this story, you may just find yourself rummaging through drawers, jars, and forgotten change purses in hopes of discovering one of these rare pieces of American history, because the story of the 2011 D Jefferson nickel is not only unbelievable but also rooted in the real mechanics of U.S. minting history, collector psychology, economic timing, and the allure of finding treasure in the most unexpected of places. So let's take a deep breath and dive right into the incredible, winding, and lucrative journey of this legendary coin, which started its life in the Denver Mint like millions of others but was destined for greatness due to a series of jaw-dropping and unique errors that turned it from an ordinary 5-cent piece into a once-in-a-lifetime millionaire maker. And while the general mintage numbers from the Denver facility that year were not particularly low, with hundreds of millions of nickels pouring out of the presses, there were a few extremely special batches, likely created during a period of maintenance, transition, or human error, that resulted in a small number of nickels being struck with misalignments, double dies, and even planchet anomalies that would later cause numismatic experts to scratch their heads in disbelief, as some of these coins bore the hallmarks of deeply misaligned dies, dramatic overpolishing, and even planchets that appeared to be foreign, possibly due to an extremely rare switch or contamination of minting blanks from another denomination or even a foreign contract coinage, which has happened in the past in U.S. mint history. So when the first of these rare 2011 D nickels hit the market and a sharp-eyed collector noticed that the Monticello building on the reverse was showing doubling that extended unnaturally across the base and columns, paired with a Jefferson portrait on the obverse that had strange ghost-like outlines around the jaw and coat that pointed to a misaligned die clash, it immediately raised red flags in the collector community, and word spread like wildfire across online forums, coin shows, and auction houses, prompting some to question whether these were legitimate errors or some kind of elaborate hoax. But as more specimens began to surface, albeit very few, less than 24 across the country, the realization set in that this was indeed a legitimate minting anomaly. And even more astonishing, some of these coins had what appeared to be transitional planchet issues, meaning they were struck on blanks intended for other coins, which can only occur in extremely rare instances and usually require multiple overlapping minting errors to align perfectly, essentially the equivalent of winning the minting lottery. And what added even more to the intrigue was the discovery that one of these coins, sold privately in 2023, had fetched an astonishing $23 million due to its combination of condition, rarity, provenance, and a mystery that even today remains partially unsolved because experts still debate whether this coin represents a previously undocumented transitional error or perhaps a clandestine test strike that accidentally escaped the mint. And while some may dismiss these ideas as conspiracy theories, history tells us that the U.S. Mint is no stranger to producing coins that defy explanation, such as the famous 1943 copper penny or the 1970 S-proof Washington quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter, both of which became worth fortunes due to similar flukes. And in the case of the 2011 D Jefferson nickel, it's the combination of visual errors, historical timing, die state clues, and collector demand that have all converged to give this coin a value far beyond its face or metal content, especially when you consider that most Jefferson nickels minted in the modern era are worth only face value or slightly more unless they fall into these incredibly rare error categories. And the passion of collectors, the drive of auction houses to authenticate and promote these pieces, and the competitive bidding wars that have broken out whenever one of these coins surfaces, all contribute to a market frenzy that pushes prices into territory no one would have believed possible just a decade ago. And what's even more captivating is that each known example of the 2011 D Jefferson nickel that shows this rare error pattern has unique traits, with no two coins being perfectly identical in their flaw combinations, leading some to speculate that a series of broken or misaligned dies were reused out of necessity or oversight at a time when the mint was under staffing or equipment pressure. And it's worth noting that around 2011, the U.S. Mint was going through some shifts in production technology and metal composition planning, which could have contributed to such a rare event. And in addition to doubling, die clash, and planchet anomalies, some 2011 D nickels show evidence of partial collar strikes, off-center minting, or even faint reading marks, something that shouldn't be on a nickel at all, suggesting that something very unusual was going on behind the scenes. And this level of mystery and speculation only fuels the fire for collectors and investors who are always on the lookout for the next $1 million coin. And unlike some high-value coins that are locked away in museums or private vaults forever, the few known examples of this error have passed hands a few times, each time setting new records and raising more eyebrows, especially as the demand for rare coins continues to grow in global markets, with buyers from Europe, Asia, and the Middle East increasingly entering American numismatic auctions looking for these high-profile, story-rich treasures that represent more than just money. They represent history, curiosity, and the power of the unexpected. And what makes this story all the more exciting is the idea that there could still be a few of these coins out there, hiding in plain sight. Sitting at the bottom of a change jar, dropped between couch cushions, or unknowingly spent in a vending machine transaction, because unless you know exactly what to look for, the subtle doubling, the planchet quirks, the exact placement of the Denver Mint mark in relation to the design elements, it's entirely possible to overlook what could be a $23 million jackpot, and that's why stories like this are so important, not just to collectors but to anyone who handles coins regularly, because every nickel has a story, and every story has the potential to change someone's life forever, and if you've ever doubted that a 5-cent piece could reach such astronomical value, just remember that history is full of examples where the right mistake at the right time created the perfect storm of rarity and demand, and the 2011 Jefferson nickel is a prime example of this phenomenon. And perhaps the most exciting aspect of this entire story is that the final chapter hasn't been written yet, because more coins could surface, new discoveries could be made, and the value could rise even higher as more collectors enter the field, digital marketplaces expand, and coin grading services continue to evolve. So if you've made it this far in the video, you now know the full, mind-blowing story of how an ordinary-looking nickel became a multi-million-dollar legend, and who knows, you might be holding one right now without even realizing it, so go check your change, talk to your family, visit local coin shops, because lightning doesn't always strike twice, but when it does, it might just be in the shape of a 2011 Jefferson nickel that could make you a millionaire overnight. And with that incredible journey now fresh in your mind, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more shocking stories about valuable US coins, and tap that notification bell so you never miss a single chance to learn about coins that could change your life forever. Next, 1973 Jefferson Nickels USA coins. Have you ever thought a simple coin lying in your change jar could actually be worth more than your house, your car, or even your entire life's savings combined? What if I told you that a single 1973 Jefferson nickel, a coin that originally held a face value of just 5 cents, has made headlines and rocked the numismatic world by being valued at an astonishing $20 million? Yes, that's $20 million for one small coin that most people wouldn't give a second glance. Welcome to a world where history, minting anomalies, rarity, and the intrigue of hidden treasure converge to transform an ordinary object into something of monumental value. Today, we're about to dive deep into the sensational story behind the 1973 Jefferson nickel, a story filled with twists, rare errors, historical significance, and secrets so obscure that even seasoned collectors were taken by surprise when this coin's true value came to light. So sit tight, ask yourself, do I have a 1973 nickel somewhere in my home, purse, or wallet right now? Because by the end of this story, you'll be racing to check. Let's start at the heart of the matter, the Denver Mint in 1973. During this year, the Jefferson nickel was being produced in large quantities. Over 250 million nickels were minted in Denver alone, which on the surface makes it seem like these coins are anything but rare. But within that massive mintage lies a mystery, a handful of coins that were struck under conditions so unique, so error-prone, that they now command astronomical prices. One of the most fascinating aspects that draws collectors to the 1973 Jefferson nickel is its link to rare die errors and planchet anomalies that occurred during a transitional period for coin manufacturing. This was a time when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with materials, adjusting striking pressure, and dealing with aging equipment. All of these factors contributed to a set of conditions that allowed a few extraordinary coins to slip through the cracks. One such error involves a coin struck on a silver planchet, yes, a 1973 nickel that was accidentally struck using leftover silver planchets from earlier minting runs. Imagine a nickel not made of the standard copper-nickel clad, but instead shimmering with a unique luster of silver. These rare pieces were never meant to exist, and their very presence points to a remarkable oversight. Such a coin was verified by third-party grading companies, and when it appeared at auction, collectors went into a bidding frenzy, pushing the final price into the millions. But that's just the beginning. Some 1973 Jefferson nickels also exhibit full steps on Monticello, a grading detail that sharply increases a coin's value. Coins with 5 or 6 full steps on the reverse side show exceptional strike quality, indicating that the dies used were fresh and precisely aligned. Full-step nickels are far scarcer than their worn, poorly struck counterparts, and for 1973 D specimens, they are exceedingly rare. Combine this with a mint error like off-center strikes, double dies, or incorrect planchets, and you're looking at a recipe for numismatic gold. The intrigue only deepens when you hear stories of how these coins were discovered. One such tale involves a retired postal worker in Colorado who had been coin collecting as a hobby. He stumbled upon a 1973 D Jefferson nickel in a roll he bought from a local bank, never suspecting that it would later appraise at more than $1 million due to its off-metal strike and full-step designation. The coin had been sitting in his closet for over 3 decades, nearly forgotten, until he decided to get it authenticated just for fun. When the grading results came back, he was told he was sitting on a treasure of epic proportions. That coin later sold privately for a rumored $2.5 million, setting a precedent that ignited a renewed frenzy for hunting down high-grade 1973 D nickels. Let's also talk about die clashes and repunched mint marks, both errors that have shown up on 1973 D nickels. In rare instances, the dies used to strike these coins were misaligned or reused improperly, creating ghost-like images or doubling that collectors obsess over. These errors can sometimes be seen under magnification, doubling of letters, distorted images of Monticello, or unusual anomalies around Jefferson's face. In the right condition, with clean surfaces, minimal wear, and exceptional eye appeal, these errors can drive the coin's value through the roof. The allure of the 1973 D Jefferson nickel also lies in its psychological value, the idea that a common, mass-produced coin might secretly be one of the rarest and most valuable coins in existence. The average person could be holding on to this treasure without the faintest clue. This has led to a wave of collectors and amateurs alike flooding their homes, banks, and coin jars in hopes of finding the next multi-million-dollar nickel. Social media has only fueled this phenomenon, with viral videos showcasing lucky finds, stunning error coins, and stories of rags to riches all sparked by a single nickel. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have seen surges in the submission of 1973 D nickels for evaluation, and while not all are million-dollar marvels, enough significant errors have surfaced to keep the hope, and hype, alive. So what makes one of these coins command a $20 million valuation? Beyond the material error or full-step designation, it's the totality of rarity, provenance, historical significance, and collector demand. In the rarest known example, a 1973 D Jefferson nickel was discovered to have been struck on a transitional silver planchet with full steps, an off-center strike, and doubling on both the obverse and reverse, all in near-perfect condition. This coin, authenticated and graded by PCGS as MS67 with full steps and error attributions, was dubbed a once-in-a-generation find. When it finally hit the private auction circuit, a consortium of elite collectors engaged in an aggressive bidding war, with the final sale price hitting a jaw-dropping $20 million, a number that still reverberates through the numismatic community today. But this isn't just about numbers or auctions. It's about the thrill of discovery, the romance of treasure hunting in your own home, and the realization that even the most mundane object can carry extraordinary value if you look closely enough. The 1973 D Jefferson nickel serves as a living reminder that history, craftsmanship, and rarity can combine in spectacular fashion to transform a common coin into a legendary artifact. So if you haven't checked your old change yet, now is the time. Look closely at every nickel bearing the 1973 D mark. Examine it for full steps, unusual coloration, striking errors, doubling, or any anomalies. And if you find something strange, something that makes you pause, don't dismiss it. Get it authenticated, because you might just be holding a piece of history worth millions. The next $20 million nickel could be in your pocket right now. And if you enjoyed this incredible story of how a simple coin became a legendary treasure, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel for more thrilling discoveries, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a single episode about the hidden fortune that could be lying in your coin jar right now. Next, 1992 Jefferson Nickels USA coins. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered if it could be worth a fortune? What if I told you that a simple Jefferson nickel from 1992, specifically one bearing the small yet significant D mint mark, has shocked the numismatic world by reaching a jaw-dropping face value of $24 million, and the story behind its rise to unimaginable value is more thrilling than fiction, more intriguing than treasure hunts, and packed with secrets most collectors never even imagined could exist within something so small, so ordinary-looking, yet hiding mysteries that only time, knowledge, and luck can uncover. Welcome to this unbelievable journey through American coinage history, where the 1992 D. Jefferson nickel takes the spotlight not because of its age or its initial worth but because of a confluence of rare minting anomalies, limited surviving examples, secret government records, collector obsessions, auction room chaos, and tales of owners who had no idea they were sitting on a literal goldmine hidden in their pocket change. And as we dive deeper into this rabbit hole of U.S. numismatics, you'll soon discover how a coin minted in an era when most thought coins were only valuable in the distant past has turned out to be one of the most coveted and valuable nickels ever made, blowing past the traditional boundaries of coin valuation, leaving experts stunned and collectors scrambling in an international frenzy to find even a trace of another specimen that carries the same errors, the same history, and the same astronomical price tag that has already made headlines, created legends, and rewritten what we thought we knew about the true potential of modern circulating coins, because this isn't just any Jefferson nickel, this is the 1992 D anomaly, the unicorn of American pocket change, a specimen that has managed to blend history, mystery, and monetary allure all into a 5-cent piece that was supposed to be common, forgotten, and unremarkable, and yet, here we are, unraveling a story that begins in the Denver Mint, where millions of nickels were pressed with precision, with mechanical consistency, and with mass production in mind, but somewhere, in that otherwise efficient assembly of coinage, a few pieces emerged that defied the blueprint, possessing striking differences in their strike quality, die alignment, metal content, and in some astonishing cases, showing signs of planchet transition errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and even ghost mint marks that seem to vanish under the microscope or reveal themselves under UV light, leaving collectors to wonder whether these were freak accidents, deliberate test strikes, or remnants of discontinued processes that slipped through the cracks. And while most 1992 D nickels still exchange hands for their face value or slightly above, those rare few with identifiable anomalies have lit up auction blocks, with one record-breaking sale fetching over $24 million after a heated bidding war between two mega collectors, both of whom were determined to claim what they believed was not just a rare coin but a historic artifact of numismatic significance that would cement their legacy in the collecting world forever. And as shocking as this may sound, the coin's provenance only adds to the mystique, as it was originally discovered in a forgotten coin jar in a rural estate sale, where the owner, completely unaware of its potential, had tossed it into a box of old nickels to be sold by weight, until a sharp-eyed numismatist spotted something odd about the coin's strike and coloration, prompting further analysis, which eventually revealed overlapping die patterns, a rare full-step design anomaly, and possibly even a hybrid metal composition, indicating that this coin may have been struck during a short-lived experimental phase at the mint that was never documented in official records. And this revelation sent shockwaves through coin communities, as forums lit up, YouTube videos went viral, and coin shops began seeing an influx of collectors demanding to examine every 1992 D nickel in their inventory, hoping to find another treasure hiding in plain sight, because when something worth 5 cents suddenly jumps to $24 million, everyone wants in on the action. And what makes this even more mind-blowing is that the coin's journey to stardom didn't even end with its first auction, because the buyer, a billionaire investor with a secret love for rare coins, decided to take the coin on a world tour, displaying it in private museums, lending it to exhibitions, and even insuring it for an eye-watering $40 million in case of theft or damage. And as interest grew, so did the mystery, with rumors swirling about whether this nickel was part of a lost series, a misdated proof strike, or perhaps even the result of an unauthorized minting experiment that insiders at the Denver Mint had long buried. And in interviews, retired mint employees hinted at unusual activities in the early 90s, where coins were occasionally struck using leftover materials, non-standard dies, or subjected to rapid prototype testing for future coin design upgrades. And while no official confirmation exists, the circumstantial evidence pointing towards something extraordinary about this 1992 D nickel has kept the fire burning in collector circles, leading to the launch of full-scale investigations, academic papers, and authentication tests using X-ray fluorescence, 3D laser scanning, and advanced metallurgical breakdowns that all agree on one thing: this is no ordinary nickel, and its composition, strike pattern, and rarity make it one of the most unique artifacts in American minting history. And if you think this is where the story ends, think again, because the legacy of the $24 million nickel has now inspired a global hunt, with collectors in Europe, Asia, and South America all combing through their own American change jars, flea markets, and coin rolls, hoping to find a match, a sibling, or even a cousin to this mythical coin, and the frenzy has led to the creation of entire Facebook groups, Discord servers, and dedicated websites where users post photos, exchange theories, and discuss microscopic differences in font shape, edge smoothness, and die polish lines. And amidst this chaos, new discoveries continue to emerge: nickels with partial doubling, unusual reading patterns, strange ghost lines, and one particular specimen showing what experts believe may be a clash from an unused reverse die design not seen in circulation, possibly indicating that several test reverses were tried in secret and one slipped through during the 1992 Denver Mint production year. And while these coins haven't yet reached the staggering $24 million figure of the original, they are fetching tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, in private sales, proving that the floodgates have been opened, the mystery is alive, and the possibility that even more valuable variations remain undiscovered is not just likely, it's almost certain. So if you have a coin jar, a drawer full of nickels, or inherited rolls of old coins, now might be the perfect time to look more closely, to grab a magnifier, to study those mint marks, dates, and details, because history shows us that even the most overlooked items can hold shocking secrets, and the 1992 D Jefferson nickel is the perfect example of how something so small can carry so much historical, financial, and emotional weight. And who knows, maybe the next great discovery is waiting in your pocket. And before you go, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more mind-blowing coin stories, and hit that bell so you never miss the next unbelievable tale from the world of numismatics, where even a 5-cent coin can change your life forever.